I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Wednesday. It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, which is brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. 3 hours with us. We'll go up to 6 o'clock. And then at that time on 100.7 The Score, it is the high school fan zone. Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper on deck tonight with Randy Rosetta. I'm Clint Scott. He's Dr. Mike Gustafson. Across the way is Kyler Brown taking care of us. You can join us on the program, Yates Flooring Center chat line, thoughts, comments, questions, all of that welcome there. You can also call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline. That number is 806-771-0973. We are in the First United Bank studio. And if you would like to watch us, well, we're on Fox 34 News now and on YouTube. Just look up youtube.com/Double T Sports Network. The latest edition of Red Raider Recon is out. Talking Baseball is out. Stay up to date there with our YouTube page. Like, subscribe, all the stuff. And if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, make sure to follow us at Double T 97.3. Gus, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've officially had a men's basketball game played. We have college football playoff rankings. We have the continuation of breaking down now it's number 8 versus number 7 at home against the BYU Cougars. How's your Wednesday treating you?
Pretty good.
Doing good?
Yeah, shoot ya. Hump day. Ready to go, man. This game can't get here fast enough.
Yeah,
or at least Friday can't get here fast enough, I guess, because I'm excited about the hoops game Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And but the whole thing, it's just I'm sure there's an antsiness over in the football facility, just and an antsiness in Provo, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's ready to get this thing going.
So this is a kind of a side conversation. I've been re-annoyed by Utah fans again because it's good for the Big 12 if you get multiple teams in. They're in a great spot to start. I don't know if I would exactly say happy for them because their fans annoy me so much, but good for the Big 12, right? Good for the Big 12 to have 3 in the spot that you're in. But, I've been curious from the BYU side, and I was listening to one of their podcasts today, and they were asking, is this the biggest game in BYU history? And they have a 1984 national championship.
I remember that game vaguely. It was a Holiday Bowl against a Big Ten runner-up, maybe a third-place Michigan team.
It was a 6-6 Michigan team.
There you go. Not even a runner-up, third place probably. But to your point, I remember the game because it was like, hey, if they win this thing, they got a shot. But it didn't have the certainly the modern day context of this. And back in those days, everything was so sort of quarantined. Southwest Conference goes to the Cotton Bowl, and the Big 8 goes to the Orange Bowl, and that kind of stuff. And so that's why for your generation, you guys were, when you were young, you were frustrated like this BCS thing with the 1 versus 2 sucks. And I'm thinking, I can remember all these years when I was a kid where 1 was playing over here versus 4, and 2 was playing over here versus 7, and then we're going to get to just sit around and look at style points. BYU's situation with the WAC and the Holiday Bowl, they weren't even playing. They weren't even playing somebody with juice, and so it was kind of a wonky year. But
it was fairly close. I had to do research on this. I was so curious about. I remember I know the national championship. I know the string of quarterbacks that they had that were Heisman-type guys or NFL guys, and they were QBU there for a little bit. But I didn't know the full story of that season and just how close the voting was between them and Washington of who would be the national champion. And so it's like, well, that game Wouldn't you think that one ended up being the biggest one right now? But I get it. That's 1984.
Sure.
And I don't disagree with it. I just think it's interesting from their perspective because we've looked at it through the Red Raider lens, right? Like, this is arguably the biggest home game you've ever had. It's at least in consideration for just biggest game because of what it sets up and what it could mean if you win it.
It's on a short list.
But from the BYU side, they're saying the same exact thing, which is just crazy.
Yeah, and it's not a breathtakingly difficult scenario to gin up a rematch in Arlington in 6 weeks? Not even 6 weeks. 5 weeks? 4 weeks? It wouldn't be just an unthinkable succession of events to get these two teams together back in Arlington.
I think that would be my expectation. I think now
I think so too.
I think that's the most likely thing to happen.
Yeah, unless somebody just gets a quarterback wrecked or something crazy. Yeah, I'm with you.
Now, I don't think that
Utah doesn't want that.
No, I don't think that road game for them at Cincinnati is a gimme, and Cincinnati has their back against the wall. But I would my expectation would be you two are going to see each other again.
Yep. Well, that'll be really big if that that Cincinnati BYU game, again, it sort of depends on what our situation here is, but Cincinnati would have a chance to sort of triangulate their got whacked by Utah, go beat BYU beat Utah, like that little scenario there, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But that's why it's so important for you to win this game, because you don't want to have to be rooting against Cincinnati's schedule, which obviously BYU's on there, but because the other one would be in that situation, you'd be either an Arizona, a BYU, or a TCU fan the rest of the way, and you have the tiebreakers in your favor over them, and then over if Utah won out. But I just say, if you take care of business, let's not.
Yeah, I know.
Let's not test that theory.
All of that's fun to talk about, but the especially when we frame it with a number 8 college football playoff ranking. I know you and I are going to talk about that, but it's like, man, if we'll keep winning, you're either hosting a playoff game here or you get a bye if you keep winning.
Yeah, we'll go over the college football playoff rankings in the juice, plus plenty more today, as there's a lot of things to talk about, including that Red Raider men's basketball debut last night. Breaking news, Christian Anderson is really good at basketball. We'll dive deeper next in the juice. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. We're in the zone. Hope you're in the zone too. Clint, Gus, and Kyler behind the glass taking care of us. If you are out and about, perhaps if you are, I don't know, maybe camping out at the stadium, let us know on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We got this. Has BYU beat a Big 12 team with a winning conference record? Why, yes, they have. But what is it? It's just Utah. Yeah, just Utah. Which is funny. This is a compliment to Arizona. I had to double check to make sure that they had a losing record in conference play. But this is you, BYU, and Utah, I think, are the best 3 teams in the conference. And yes, Cincinnati only has 1 loss. And yes, you and I both have talked about how much better Cincinnati is, but I think just when you're seeing at this point in the season, I think that they have separated themselves, and Cincinnati is like the clear-cut 4th, which is in a really good spot from where they have been, right? And so if you like kind of the chain of wins for a prediction, it bodes well that you went into Utah and ended up smacking them. as far as this game, because BYU, I think they're going to be really, really tough to fully blow out, but I do think you are more than capable of doing that.
And TCU's kind of on the cusp of some things. They're a game behind. They're 3-2, where everybody's 4-2. They still have 4 games left. Mm-hmm. They're coming off their open week, so they've got 4 in a row here, whereas we still have an open week, etc. They can get back into this conversation. I'm not saying they need a tighter rope. They need to walk a tighter rope to get all the way into the Arlington conversation. But I think we've sort of pushed them out of our mind, but they're just sitting there with 2 losses. They too have meaningful games, and this is part of the reason why I think we're maybe writing them off a little bit. Like, well, Iowa State probably has become a disappointment at this point, especially given their their win in Ireland, right? Dublin, at the very beginning.
Over in Dublin.
TCU gets to go to BYU, go to Houston, and play Cincinnati, and so you might look at that and go, no way would they're winning all 3 of those games. But if they do, they're going to put a dent in some things. They're going to dent some resumes. They're probably at a point where their only pathway to Arlington is to win all 4 of those. And again, I know we don't just love including them and everything, but it's easy to see their name down the list and go, well, that feels nice down there, But they
I hope you guys are doing good down there.
They've got the
good job.
Yeah, I know, I got it. I'm with you, but. They do have an opportunity to be impactful given who they have left.
That's what my interest level is with them, because I am of the ilk that says there's no way that they are going 4-0 and right. trying. Even then, it's not a given that they would be in a tiebreaker scenario. But are they? I think they are talented enough to get any of those teams. I also think that they've shown the meltdown ability to go 0-4 the next 4 weeks.
I'm with you, and they could go beat somebody that is probably a little better than them by just drowning them in points, and winning some 49-42 thing, and where they get up 2 or 3 touchdowns and just play, somebody's chasing them and playing catch up the entire way. They're capable of beating someone like that, but that's what I'm saying. I'd have a hard time with them winning all 4 of those. But if they do,
it is funny that they have, because clearly BYU is in that contender conversation. Cincinnati still controls their own destiny, and then Houston, who, boy, if you were going to drop a game, could they have had a worse showing? A worse showing against, and when you add in a bottom 3 team that you lose it at home, you lose it in front of about 10 fans on top of it.
10 fans.
That fan base does not deserve Houston to be good. They don't.
I agree.
They don't deserve a turnaround if that's what they're going to show up for.
I know.
For a top 25 team. It was a joke. Now, they wouldn't have made a difference on the field, but still, I was like, that was an embarrassment all the way around for Houston, because again, they would have even if they had won out, clearly would have needed help with tiebreakers and some things go their way. But still, they weren't supposed to be in this spot, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. And really, when you go all the way back around, Clint, to stuff that happened before you were, I don't say it was before you were born, but part of the reason they were left out of the Big 12, the original Big 12, the 4 that went to the Big 12, was like, hey, that just everybody who had ever played against them can tell you about the times where the Astrodome, because that's where they played their games, because they didn't have an on-campus stadium, so that in and of itself was a problem. But then how many of us went to games down there to watch our team play them in front of 19,000 fans? And in many cases, they're better than their teams are better than their fan base. Just in terms of their willingness to engage and all that. Now, you'll get the full brunt of it in basketball right now, and I understand that. But you know what? And you got it in 1984 when Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon played for him. So I get that. So, okay, you got a really good fan base when you're one of the best teams in a country. My hat's off to you. Everybody has a good fan base when you're one of the best teams in the country. But the rank and file Houston athletic team, just doesn't get great support, and that matters when you start thinking about media rights and all of that kind of stuff later on. If they're drawing 18,000 people to a home football game, you think they're getting a lot of eyeballs when they play games on TV in the sport of football?
Sure.
Yes, in basketball, I get that, but from what we understand, this isn't a basketball. Basketball isn't driving this conversation, this media rights and realignment stuff.
But still, for Houston, even after that, and just horribly timed loss, they're still 4-2 in conference play. And if you're looking at what team could cause the most chaos with their success, it's TCU.
Yep.
Since they do have, it's BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. They could either put some serious wrinkles for one of those teams in their schedule, or depending on the loss and the timing of it, just completely take them out of the race.
This is
which is very exciting.
Yeah, relatively speaking, this is a quiet week in the league. Several open weeks, and we had a few last week, and the pace will start to quicken over these last couple of weeks. But yeah, it's all eyes on Lubbock, Texas this week in the Big 12.
All eyes. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Thanks for making us a part of your Wednesday. Happy hump day to you, Clint, Gus, and Kyler. We'll go up to 6 o'clock today, and we will pitch it over to Kyler because he has our play of the day.
9-point Tech lead, 9:50 left to play in the first half. Kai Cooper goes left, goes right, jumps to pass, throws it right to Christian Anderson. Anderson cutting left, cutting right, muscles in. Yes, sir! Off the glass and in, and he fouled. Token pressure on Christian Anderson with those 20 points and 7 of 11 from the field. He'll get a screen. Gonna shoot for 3. My gosh. It looks like a layup. Christian Anderson bombs away, baby. He's got 23. Left elbow, fake right, drive left, hanging shot. Quintox says no. Handed down the floor for Christian Anderson. The big Euro layup, good with the right hand from the left.
The Red Raider basketball season tipped off last night as the Red Raiders were victorious 98-60 over the Lindenwood Lions. And Christian Anderson balled out. He had a career high at halftime, and he ended with 34 points, 11 assists, and even 7 rebounds from our smallest guy on the court anyways. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Great game from the Red Raiders overall.
Love it.
Well, and it's funny. I'm not knocking that you said that, because obviously as a guard you're going to be smaller, but it's funny that seeing like the summer just growth he's had as a still young player, and that also includes just getting thicker and being stronger and things like that, all the things you want a young guy to work on. But for Christian Anderson, I mean, he had such a good end to the season. He might as well have been the 6th starter. He started in some games, but he was getting starter minutes and was giving you starter production, and you go, okay, well, just how much better can a guy like that get from his freshman to sophomore year? And somehow I still think, and this is past just like our look tonight, I think we were seeing this in some of the stuff he was taking part of with like the under 21 team with Germany, and then some of the World Games stuff. He's playing against like Luka Doncic, and if you watched any of that, you can just see that maybe it starts with just his confidence and knowing where he's going with the ball. I mean, he distributed last night it just in a way that was so much better than last year. And it wasn't bad last year. He just wasn't asked to do it that much. And then things like that. I'm glad you put in the Euro step move in there. That was pretty. And so maybe it just starts with the confidence of knowing where you're going with the ball, and also just knowing mentally that you are for sure one of the dudes this year. And as much as the team is going to win or lose with JT Toppin, it's also going to win or lose with Christian Anderson. And he doesn't need to pour in 34 points every single night, but just how he's able to, one, find his own shot, and then two, how can he orchestrate the offense? And last night was a great first look at that without some of your starters.
Yeah, and without a ton of pressure from the opponent. Don't want to play a schedule full of those kind of deals.
Sure.
But those are a nice way to get out of the gate and get through some of that first game stuff, and just, and here in 6 days they'll be playing one of the top 20 team.
Yeah, the game in Champaign is that's going to be a really good. And by the way, if you win that game, doesn't mean for sure, hey, yeah, you are going to have the greatest season ever. And if you lose that game, also doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of the world. But I'm interested just to see what you look like this early from a chemistry side. That's my thing that I'm looking for whenever we get everybody on the court that we want to see, instead of kind of like the half shell of your roster that you were last night, because the talent is there. The talent's going to be there, and it's going to be there all season long. But a big part when you have roster turnover that every single team in college basketball faces is how do they gel together, and how do they gel together early, because you've got some tough tests in the non-conference.
I think one of the maybe key ways to view those 6 games, starting with Illinois, we could throw LSU, Arkansas, Duke, Wake, and then what the other game is.
Most likely going to be Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue or Memphis, right? Yeah, I think the key there is, can we, what are you going to do in those 6? Like looking at them with what's your record in those 6 games, right? And obviously you can't, you don't want to run around dropping a upset game to New Orleans or something, who knocked off TCU the other night. But take care of those games and then get some of the other ones. It'd be great to get them all, don't get me wrong. If you want to go sashaying into Madison Square Garden and knock off Duke, you start doing that kind
I
of
hope they don't sashay into there. You'll get roasted.
You do that stuff, you're gonna be having your ranking involve single digits, like way up there. But I think that's a realistic way to look at it. Like, can we go 4-2 in those 6 games? Can we go get one on the road at Illinois that's just gonna, whatever power ratings and the RPI, all that kind of stuff, is all gonna get helium from a road win at a place like that. And you know what? Illinois will come in here this time next year wanting the same thing.
And even like past where you are in the AP Top 25, the bigger thing is you're doing this one. Yes, to iron sharpens iron is a very, very true thing, especially trying to get ready for Big 12 play, which is always going to be a gauntlet. But Level made this point on the broadcast last night. Like, Kansas has had 2 down years, right? Two very for their standards.
Yeah, exactly.
For their standards, their crowd, their fan base would tell you they were down years, right? But they still had pretty inflated seating at the end, regardless, because of what they did in the non-conference. And it wasn't that they won them all, it's that they played them all. And that's a big thing that these Big 12 coaches have been told, hey, are you scheduling to make the tournament, or you're scheduling for your resume to go for a 1 seed? And this is a resume that is going to help you get a very high seed if you have done. You don't have to be perfect, but positive outcomes in that handful of games when you get to these top 25, and in some of the cases, top 10 matchups. And I think that's a big thing down the line that we will look back to of, hey, this is why you're here at this seed in a good way, or hey, this is why you're in this seed in maybe in a salvaging way just because you had them on the schedule.
I think hand in glove with that is with that conversation is, and to facilitate that, we're going to give you back 2 games. Because remember, our Big 12, I know you know this, but our Big 12 conference schedule was shrunk from 20 to 18. And so every coach in the league was, here's 2 games. What are you going to do with them? You going to schedule 2 more Lindenwoods, or are you going to go try to hunt down Duke and, and
Arkansas?
and Duke and Arkansas in those games. And I don't know which ones were added at the end, maybe with the 2 games after that was who knows. Not important, but just and Texas Tech, you can say whatever you want about this basketball team schedule. I mean, I guess if we were going to say anything about it, it'd be like, wish there was more of our home schedule involved one of these type games. And hopefully, as Coach McCaslin goes along, maybe, next year Illinois comes to Lubbock, and maybe we go to, start a new one with Oregon or something, and then the year after that, Oregon comes here, and we start a new one with North Carolina State. You know what I mean? Like, to get one true home laddered in so that every year we do that. Again, my consulting services are available with all the scheduling needs that I'm sure Coach McCaslin hadn't had any of these thoughts.
Did you get my application to that, by the way?
Exactly. That would be so cool because we went through a little stretch with Pat Knight playing, of all people. The Pat Knight tenure isn't remembered for a whole lot. We had Stanford in here one time. I think we had Oregon in here one time. And then those were part of home and homes that would be fun to fire up one of those a year.
Speaking of Oregon, we're going to talk about them and some other teams on the other side. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hour number 3 of Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. I'm Clint. He's Gus. Kyler across the way taking care of us. We'll have a little Cowboys crosstalk on for you tonight at 7 o'clock here on Double T 97.3. You can join us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line or call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. Let's play a little catch-up there. Resident Aggie said, I played against Rayford Young in high school. He was a better quarterback at Pampa than a basketball player. What an athlete. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is. That's really cool.
Old Razzle Dazzle said, Clonk, your knowledge of the people who wrote Disney soundtracks is elite.
I know.
Thank you. We all got to be good at something, right? Just wish mine was something useful. Shelly said, just visited some young friends at Raiderville. The vibes are immaculate. Everyone is helping each other. It's organized. They know what's on the line and not to embarrass themselves or us. Really proud of our students. It's impressive.
Love it.
How about you've had, I don't know, a handful of players either handing out pizza or donuts. I thoroughly enjoyed Baron Morton screaming, wake up, Red Raiders, come get your donuts on Twitter today.
Yeah, that was fun, and they probably enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
I think the 11 a.m. thing will probably even help with. I mean, if you're worried about distraction, they've had their fun with it, but that thing will all happen so quick on Saturday. It'll be wake up and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rachel said, I just need to know where Herb Street's dog is going to be.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite on the panel, on the current panel?
I mean, the one I want to see in person is Nick Saban.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, I'm
read one of his books. I actually read that book when he was at LSU. That's how long ago that was. But just, I've enjoyed the Saban Belichick thing that HBO did a few years ago. Just that stuff. And then, I've told you guys I'm a T-shirt Bama fan. Lived in Tuscaloosa as a kid. So if I can catch a glimpse of somebody, he's the one.
You know what's funny is, and I'm just saying this as an observer of College Gameday fans, I feel like for a while people were the most split on like Kirk Herbstreit. I love Kirk Herbstreit. Everything he does is great. Every opinion he has, I agree with. Or it was the exact opposite, and it was like, I don't like him. He whatever. For whatever reason, I don't like him, and I'm torn on him. And he was the most divisive of who liked him and who didn't as far as the panel. And then they added Pat McAfee, and I was like, oh, okay, well, nope. There's the most divisive guy, and I think all in all,
I think the dog
he's
stuff
good
helped
for
too.
it.
It feels like some of the hate's gone too with like the dog thing has become more of the. How long has the dog been in the picture? In the last 4 years? I know we went from
that sounds about right.
The dog who passed away to the current one, but like now is I mean, which is cool. It just feels like there was a bunch of heat, and I was like, he's always seemed like a pretty middle of the road guy and all that. Like, he loves it. Of course, it was SEC versus Big Ten nonsense. It's so like, you two eat each other up. You let the Georgia and the Bama fans eat up the Michigan and the Ohio State fans, and we'll be left to ravage the pieces here. Yeah, it felt like he was catching those kind of strays. He's a homer for Ohio State. He's
right. Yeah, that was a big one. It was like,
I don't care. You're good God, you people.
And it's going to happen. I mean, anybody that voices their opinion for a living.
Yep.
Is
you and me
is
get
not,
15 hours a week to find that out, don't we?
No, not everybody's going to agree with you, and I get it. I'm not saying that I just love every single broadcaster in the world, because that's certainly not true. I'm not quite to Brennan's level. I don't know a broadcaster that Brennan likes. We're working on finding that out.
Oh, I know, dude. He's got to get past that, man.
He's fiery, man. Just like bring up any broadcaster. Yeah, Brennan hates that guy.
I mean, he's not picking on Tom Holliday. It's like to the top of the announcer chain. Joe Buck's pissing me off today. Okay, thanks. Got it. Noted.
Oh, man. We need to make sure to bring that up to him tomorrow.
Well, it's kind of rich coming from a guy who wants to broadcast, right? Like, you, sir, might want to have more compassion than you have, okay? Because some old lady is in her trailer listening to your
Olton
broadcast with all kinds of opinions on you. So you might want to just project a little more, like, this compassion into the world, dude.
This LCU soccer broadcast is really ticking me off right now.
Exactly. Who's this 12-year-old? Either that or he's trying to get even. He's trying to, throw the first punch. I hate all of you people before you can hate me back.
I am excited because so like Pat McAfee, he's a big piece of discussion, right? Like he's taken over a lot of ESPN. I think ESPN trying to stay relevant to like the younger crowd. He's been a big piece of that. I understand if you love him as a personality. I understand if he just grinds your gears as a personality. That just goes with it, right? They knew what they were doing when they brought him in. That being said, if it's a school that I'm rooting for or like kind of like, I have enjoyed his kind of pandering. That's what this is. You're supposed to just you pander some to the home crowd. You're going to get pandered to a ton. With that, I am curious to see what all he specifically does with the Tech fans there in attendance behind the stage.
He's going to lead a couple of Raider power chants. I'm predicting that. I think that one's safe because he'll come up with some that are more obscure to me. Like he was leading the Utah thing and some of the things like I didn't even know that was a thing. Like our Raider powers.
There's been a couple I'm like, did you make that up and teach everyone in the crowd that? Before
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he's in on some that may be a little more obscure than Raider power, right? So I think, and that's safe. Here's what you're gonna do: pay attention. You yell Raider and wait for the response. Okay, it's like that one's gonna be easy.
Yeah,
love it.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Back with more next.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Staying alive, a very, very fitting theme for this week for both teams playing at the Jones. Really a fitting theme for a lot of Big 12 teams over the next 3 weeks. Who can stay alive? Who ends up in Arlington? I think it'll be the two teams that are playing this weekend again.
And who ends up in Shreveport?
Yeah. We'll the rest of the Big 12. This is something we'll do tomorrow whenever we're live from Twin Peaks. Which, by the way, if you were looking for tickets, we'll have 2 tickets tomorrow. We'll have 2 tickets live from the Overton as well. So you'll have to be present to win both of those, but we'll give you more than enough heads up of how we're doing it and stuff like that. But
you also have to be present and listening.
Yes.
Because we got a couple guys that are great, but they kind of hover. Like, you need to listen because Clint will usually give directions, and if you're just standing there thinking he's going to hold up the 2 tickets and you run over and tackle him, it doesn't work like that.
I'm going to keep people on their toes every week. Yes. Well, they weren't going to tackle me. They were going to tackle Jimmy. He was the decoy.
Better. Well, in that case.
He wasn't the decoy the first week. He was the decoy the second week. But when we break down the rest of the Big 12, it is funny, as much as you do have a couple of teams who are in contention. Well, there's some buys that really make this an in my humble opinion, a kind of a wah-wah week outside of you. Like, you were easily, I mean, not only to me are you the premier game clearly in just the sport of college football this week when you just look at the matchups, but especially in the Big 12. But we'll take a look at that tomorrow. Before we go into some more football, you had a little bit of trivia you wanted to give to
One for
DJ Puddin'.
Heard this the other day. Couldn't believe it to be true. But, as best I can tell, it is. NBA MVPs. All of them have been drafted 15th pick or higher except for one. Like ever. All of the Bill Russells and Dr. J's and Larry Birds and all that. Giannis was the 15th overall pick. He's the 15th. You know who was picked lower? I mean,
Nikola Jokic.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I was about to give you a Yoki Taco Bell hint.
I just couldn't believe the part about the good job, but the fact that every other one has been picked 15th or higher. It kind of tells you about the scouting in that sport. It's probably a little bit more of a direct translation from the college game to the pro. There's probably less projection. Steve Nash was the other one at 15.
That is a very wild stat. I didn't even know that.
You'd think somebody would have snuck in there.
As soon as I started thinking about it, though, I remembered that Jokic was taken in the second round during a Taco Bell commercial. So,
yep.
There you go. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man.
Can you tell us the item they were pitching in said Taco Bell commercial?
Because you flip it, and again, exactly. It's the nature of the sports are very different, and their drafts and all that stuff. High school kids for a long time in basketball, but not drafting for as many spots with baseball until Ken Griffey Jr. had never had a first overall pick make it to the Hall of Fame. Been second and thirds and all the other types of picks, but there had never been a first overall pick. The draft started in '67, and there we were in the late aughts or whatever when Junior went in. So, yeah.
Good job.
There you go.
Good.
Have at it, Clint. I cede the floor to you, sir. Let me hand you the gavel.
I have always wanted to hold a real gavel, be at a judge's desk. I just want to one time.
And have the whole
one
room
time.
Go, oh, bleep.
Yeah.
Better straighten up.
Judge Scott's taking this seriously. Do any of those other guys have a stash, though, like Jacob Rodriguez? Well, that's also a no. An elite mustache.
Yeah.
Elite mustache.
I don't think so.
You know what I've really enjoyed? So, obviously, College Gameday's here this weekend. Some other shows are coming to town, too. Again, going back to you're the premier game in the sport this weekend. But, like, Josh Pate is here this week, if you're a Josh Pate fan. And something that he had tweeted out is he was enjoying everybody that was here for 2008, kind of sharing their memories with that, the last time that College Gameday was here. And you know what's funny is the game that ends up carrying more weight from that season is the Oklahoma game that you've fallen, but still, that's just like if you had gotten over that hump for like Big 12 championship, everything you're trying to chase and everything you're trying to keep yourself in line for with hopefully a win this weekend. But it has been like David Collier shared pictures from 2008 to now. What are some of your 2008 memories?
Golly, I don't know, man. I had an 8th grader and a 3rd grader at the time, so I wasn't.
I like hearing the 8th grader story of like I'm about to run on the field.
Yeah, I mean I need to get him on here sometime to tell that. Supposedly he was sitting down in the north end with his buddies and they were spilling over the rail, and he had played enough NCAA football. I knew that he knew that the clock doesn't run on an extra point. Mm-hmm. But I think but everybody was going, and so because then we kicked the extra point, and everybody rushed it again. Like, no, clock not running on the extra point, people. But he claims that he was trampled. Like went down, and some college kid picked him up. Here you go, kid! And like grabbed him and stood him back up, and he weebled his way out there. That's his story of it, and that was his story back in the day. So I have no reason not to believe it. It was kind of back in those days. It was a meet at the car kind of thing.
Were you around campus and all during like the actual game day show? What were you doing?
You know what? I'm almost certain that we had Texas Tech Athletic Hall of Honor the night before. And that was probably my third year to do that and be instrumental in all that.
Yeah.
And our pregame thing, or our Saturday thing, was, I think, a breakfast, or for some reason we were over in the Citibank room of the arena that morning. And it might have just been a little brunch thing, and then, all right, see you guys at 4 o'clock at the Southwest Ramp, that kind of that's kind of what we do. And because I remember it was either on a TV, but I wasn't there at the thing. Obviously had all the recorders going and saw it all, but we were, me and the inductees and a few others who were involved with the then Double T Association, now Double T Varsity Club, now on campus, etc. And so I was not there. Mm-hmm. Remember seeing it on TV, though. I mean, like in the room at the moment, seeing it on TV. Now, I can tell you vividly about the game that night. That's another story.
I'll talk about we've got one more, Ask Tech Talk. We'll start with a question from Squeaky Wheel on the other side. Give us your questions as well. But over the next 24 hours, when at Twin Peaks, maybe that's something we do, like everyone send in what they were doing the last time game day was here. Get some memories.
Tomorrow, not now.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, save them for tomorrow. Yeah.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.